Thanks for tuning in to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. Our special guest in this episode is Bengals quarterback coach Dan Pitcher. How would you like to be a guy that rubs elbows and compares notes and brainstorms with a quarterback like Joe Burrow? Man, must be one of the greatest jobs in the world. Dan Pitcher does a phenomenal job of it. Joe Burrow will tell you Dan Pitcher is a big reason for the success that Joe Burrow is experiencing. They have a very, very good symbiotic relationship. There's no two ways about it. We're going to talk to Dan Pitcher about the playoff victory in Buffalo. We're going to talk to him a little bit about the upcoming football game in Kansas City against the Chiefs, AFC champions, the second time in a row. Has a good ring to it, doesn't it? I want to congratulate you for joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we are in our studios as always, and they are outstanding. I want to congratulate you because we have an outstanding guest. This gentleman does a great job for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's a tremendous guest for us on a regular basis. I'm speaking of none other than quarterback coach extraordinaire, Mr. Dan Pitcher. Coach, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Lap.
First off, it was a big deal for you for so many reasons to go to Buffalo and beat the Buffalo Bills, because that's where your foundation was laid, in terms of who you are and what you are as a football player, coach, and everything that you've become in your lifetime. Take us back to what it was like to go home to Buffalo and beat the Buffalo Bills. What was that like, Coach?
Yeah, it was a great day. Just really happy for our team and for our players and how well they played. It's always fun to, go back to, a part of the country that I'm is near and dear to me. I grew up a couple hours from Buffalo, but I grew up a Bills fan, and grandparents had season tickets. And so spent, a lot of games in that stadium and those parking lots, throwing the ball around as a little kid. And, really where a lot of my love for football grew. And so to be able to go back there and just think about that, it's pretty cool.
It's very cool. I mean, to come full circle like that that's a heck of an experience. And not a lot of people do get to experience that kind of thing, Coach. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
Who was your first hero as a Buffalo Bill when you were, get that early exposure and, man, I really like this game? Who was the guy?
Yeah. So my earliest memories are, I can kind of remember Jim Kelly playing, and I remember Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed and Bruce Smith. I just remember the chants of Bruce in the stadium. So that kind of, I remember the tail end of that run of those guys. And then, the Flutie, Rob Johnson, Drew Bledsoe, AVP is in there too, kind of that stretch of guys.
Right.
So it's hard to single out one guy. But the mid to late 90s Bills football was probably the most important thing to a 10-year-old Dan Pitcher.
No question. AVP, by the way, for everybody, is Alex Van Pelt. But so 4 straight Super Bowls. Unbelievable. What was it like for you as a young fan to go 4 straight times and just come up short 4 times in a row? That's just amazing to think about.
Yeah, so I really only remember a little bit of maybe the last one, so I would have been 94. I would have only been 7 in the last one there. So like I said, I kind of caught the tail end of that really good run for them.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of success after that. And it's just when you're a young kid like that, to look up to those guys, and you got the trading cards and you play the video games and you watch them on TV, and to eventually, be at this level doing something that I love doing and coaching and doing it in that stadium. It was a cool experience. I made sure to take a moment to recognize that and appreciate it.
It's amazing here in Cincinnati now. We know the crowd are so supportive. the entire city, the whole community is so supportive of what the Cincinnati Bengals are about right now. And it's been that way in Buffalo for a long time. It's been that way in so many NFL cities for such a long period of time, and here in Cincinnati as well, back into the 80s and earlier. It's amazing how the NFL can unite and bond entire communities of people. And you get fans all over the country, that it doesn't, to be a fan, you don't have to just live in the city proper. You can live anywhere. And it's amazing how fans all over the country, all over the world, are fans of specific teams. It really is.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing about sports, right? Is the ability to bring people together and for a common goal and a purpose bigger than themselves. And it's cool when the community can feel that. We obviously feel that as the team, right? Where we come together and everybody has their role, and all you want to do is just make sure you're doing your job really well so that the team can do really well. But the communities obviously have a huge part in that, and this community in Cincinnati right now, the support that we feel from them. We go on the road and you're hearing Who Dey chants in the first quarter of that game in Buffalo. That doesn't go unnoticed.
It's incredible. The Who Dey chants, the T, when T made a catch, and then when we come back after the game, the buses pull into the stadium at midnight. There's a couple hundred people there honking horns, going crazy. I mean, it is off the hook. The place, the city of Cincinnati and surrounding areas, I mean, they're beside themselves in joy. It's just such a great thing. It really is. No question.
Yeah, it's been great, and like I said, we feel that. So keep it coming.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so you talked about how the football team has bonded so many people, and it's because of the excellence as well of the football team. How about your quarterback in this past game against the Buffalo Bills on the road? The fans are going absolutely crazy. I mean, they're just in full throat. It's boisterous. It's loud. It's snowing. And Joe Burrow goes 9 for 9, 2 touchdowns in those first 9 throws, 4 for 4 in the first drive for a touchdown, 5 for 5 in the second drive for a touchdown. You're up 14-0, and Joe Burrow's like, no problem. How about that start? And then his first 14 passes go to 8 different players. I mean, he's like distributing, spreading it. I guess probably nothing surprises you anymore, Coach, but that is extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah. He's playing at such a high level, and you're right. It doesn't surprise us.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we don't appreciate it fully. That's you can't fall into that trap, right? Where it's like, that's just the expectation, and you forget that what he's doing is not usual. So we appreciate how he's playing and his approach on a game-to-game basis. He's the biggest part of why we find ourselves in the position we find ourselves. And so we're just going to continue to, put a great environment around him and give him everything he needs so that you give him the keys on Sunday and you say, go do your thing. And that's our job, and we'll keep doing it. And I know he's going to keep doing his.
He is such a tremendous leader in that he performs at such a high level, but never, emotionally so even keel, and during the week, everybody's like, boy, what about the offensive line? Oh my gosh, 3 new start. And Joe's like, hey, things are good. We got confidence in these guys. These guys have played a lot of football. We got guys that have played playoff games, in that group of guys. Everything's going to be good. Calm down. Everything's fine. And they go out and play. That offensive line went out and played. They played 5 as 1. I mean, they really did a hell of a job. Jackson Carman was phenomenal, I thought, at the left tackle position. And, still had Ted Karras there, the quarterback of the offensive line, controlling things. But, Adeniji out there, is doing his thing as well, sharping. I mean, what about that offensive line, Coach? And do you think Joe had a big impact on those guys like he does on everybody?
Yeah, Joe impacts everybody in the building. He brings out the best in everybody, and he's very aware of the effect that he can have on people. And I think he's done a great job of using that positively and instilling confidence in his teammates. The offensive line was, outstanding on Sunday. I mean, there's a hundred superlatives you could use to describe how they played.
Right.
And so it gives you more confidence moving forward that we're going to get more of that. And they step up their game because they want to play well in front of our quarterback, and our quarterback instills confidence in them. They're extremely well coached, and they're a motivated unit, and those guys that are getting their opportunities are going out there to prove what they can do. And so, they were great, and we're going to need more of it.
I'm watching the running game coach that went for over 170 yards, and Frank schemed up a great run game. You guys schemed up a great game plan overall. I mean, it was executed to perfection by your football team, but you run motion and you get a defensive back in the box and for the running game, and then you pull a tackle to block him, and it's like, man, he's basically diving at his ankles to survive, and boom, Joe Mixon's up the gut for a big gash play. You have Jamar Chase, who's a tremendous wide receiver, the best in the NFL. He's cracking on a defensive end. Shaq Lawson and Jackson Carman, is coming out and around, and he's pancaking linebackers, Edmonds. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch how you guys schemed it to get that, that defensive back in the box, and then how the players executed, because such a belief in, man, this stuff is good. We got to do our job because this stuff is good. That's a hell of a dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it all came together Sunday. A ton of credit to Zac and to Brian and to Frank, who you mentioned. I mean, Frank does a great job scheming the run game and recognizing where they're going to be weak. When teams play us with two high safeties because they're afraid of what our guys on the outside can do, that puts a lot of pressure on the nickel, particularly to fit the run. Yep. And he can end up in some pretty tough spots. And, especially a team like Buffalo that they play almost exclusively nickel defense. If they're going to keep two safeties high, which if I was playing us, I'd probably do the same thing. There's going to be opportunities there. And so great job by those guys I just mentioned, scheming that. And then the players just executing. I think your example with Jamar on the crack block there, on the toss, I mean, that's just an example of the kind of guys that we have. Unselfish. What's my job? I'm going to go do it. Whether my job's to, catch 15 passes for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, or to crack block a defensive end, it doesn't matter. We got 2 games left to achieve the ultimate goal. And so that's where everybody's mindset is. And, we expect that of our guys.
So Coach, when you guys score first, you're 10-0. When you have a lead after the first quarter, you're 9-0. Lead after the second quarter, 9-0. Lead after the third quarter, still 9-0. I mean, so when you guys get the lead, you sustain it, you maintain it, and you finish. The thing that was amazing to me against Buffalo on Monday night, the game that was obviously didn't play, finished because of reasons that were certainly the reason not to play football after the trauma that everybody experienced that night. But on that drive, you guys go 75 yards in 5 plays. In this football game, in the playoff game, first drive, 6 plays, 79 yards. Second drive, 10 plays, 72 yards. Those 3 drives, and 2 of them only counted, but 21 plays, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, over 10 yards a snap. I mean, it's like, wow, you guys were just slicing and dicing and carving up a hell of a defensive football team.
Yeah. We came out really strong in both those games. I think it's a testament to our guys being ready from snap one. When they walk on the field, there's no easing into it. We love when we get a chance to get the ball first. Sometimes it works out that way, sometimes it doesn't. There's obviously a lot of different things strategically that go into those decisions, but whenever it happens, we relish that opportunity as an offense. And I think we've taken advantage of a lot of those opportunities this year.
Talk about, in my mind, it was the 3 C's in this football game. You played a clean game, 2 penalties for 9 yards, and one of them was a little dicey. Volson a little bit dicey, but 2 penalties for 9 yards, 2 false starts, no turnovers, no interceptions. Ball's not even on the ground. Never mind losing a fumble. Ball's not even on the ground. So it was a clean game. It was a complete game, and it was a complimentary game. All 3 phases. I mean, it was as good a football game as I've seen in a long time. You had no 3 and outs, none. The shortest drive was 6 snaps. I mean, you did something with it every single time. You only had 2 plays out of 71 snaps, 2 plays that went for minus yards, a quarterback sack, and 1 run that went for minus yards. That stuff is extraordinary. I mean, 16 plays, I think I counted, that went for 10 yards or more. 16 of them in those weather conditions. I mean, Coach, is that about as good as it gets?
Yeah, when you're able to move the ball like that and sustain that over the course of the game, it's gonna lead to a lot of really good things as a team. And then when you add in, like you referenced, the other 2 phases, as well as our special teams played, and then our defense, who just continues to step up game after game after game, with great plans and great execution, it kind of all comes together. I think the thing to point out from the other day, I would just reference our ball carriers, our backs, our tight ends, our receivers, guys scratching and clawing for extra yards. It felt like there were probably 6 or 7 times where we're sitting there saying, "Hey, do we get the first down? Is it 2nd and a foot, or is it a first down? Is it 3rd and a foot, or is it a first down?" And it felt like every time, for the most part, it was a first down.
Yeah.
Because the guys just by sheer will, were able to scratch out a couple extra inches to get us the first down. And so the rhythm that allows you to get in as for Zac as a play caller and for Joe as a quarterback, when you're moving the sticks as often as we're moving them, it becomes demoralizing to the defense, and it really allows you to establish a rhythm.
It looked to me like, live as I was watching the game, the Bengals looked so much quicker. Looked like the inclement weather, the snow and some, that can get in your cleats and all that stuff. You gotta stay over your feet. It looked like the Bengals were staying over their feet so much more successfully than the Buffalo Bills. I don't know, maybe if they were emotionally tired or whatever the case, but it just looked like the Cincinnati Bengals as a team, all phases, they were a step quicker. And I don't know, maybe it was getting off to that big lead early had something to do with it. Boy, watching the game live, and then it's harder to see it maybe on tape, but live to me, it was like, man, this Bengals football team is just faster and quicker tonight, period.
Yeah, I think, I can't speak to anything that, was going on with their team. I just think for us, when you're confident in what you're supposed to do,
yep,
you can play fast. And I think our guys were completely confident in what they're being asked to do, and the weather, it's obviously, it becomes a factor when it's that significant. But if you play with body control and where you're going, you can figure it out. And I thought our guys did a great job of that. And, sometimes it's harder to be the person reacting in that environment on defense than it is to be the person who knows where they're going. And, maybe that was a factor a little bit. I don't know. I just know, our guys didn't let the snow or the field conditions affect their ability to execute. And that, it's a proud moment as a coach when, you just kind of rise above that.
So let's talk about the next opponent, Coach. You're going back to the AFC Championship game for the 2nd year in a row. You're in the Final Four for the 2nd year in a row. And this opponent, they're hosting an AFC Championship game for the 5th year in a row. That's mind-boggling. But the Bengals have beaten them 3 times in less than a calendar year. This 4th time will be an opportunity to win 4 in less than 13 months. So it's like, hey, I'm not scared to go to Kansas City, it doesn't appear, and play the Kansas City Chiefs. Quality opponent, though, no question about it. As I look at that defensive football team, the one that jumps out and slaps me right in the face as a former lineman is number 95, Chris Jones. That guy's a problem, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a great player, and there's no fear there, like you said. I mean, we don't fear anybody.
Yeah.
We respect everybody. We certainly respect the Kansas City Chiefs, and success in prior games guarantees you nothing. So, we approach every game as its own entity, and we have to put a great plan together. We have to make sure our guys know what they need to do, and then they have to go do it. And so we have confidence that we can do all of those things, check all of those boxes. But it's going to require our best effort against a great team who, like you said, is hosting their 5th straight AFC Championship game. And so they obviously got something right over there. And they got a lot of really good players in all three phases. So we got to work cut out for us, but we're excited for the opportunity. This is where we expect it to be. And so now we just got to go do the job.
Steve Spagnuolo, as a defensive coordinator, obviously has been around the league for quite a while and has achieved quite a bit of success as well. What's his trademark as such? What separates him from the pack in your estimation, Coach?
Well, they do a really good job of mixing looks on you, mixing coverage on first and second down, on third down, giving you different, man looks. They do a good job disguising, as all teams try to do against all NFL quarterbacks, but particularly against really smart ones. It's important to try to, if they know the answers to the test before they catch the ball, it gets really hard to defend them. And so they do a good job of trying to disguise what they're giving you. They mix up some different man looks where they may double team guys here or there and just make it a little hard on you, trying to get the ball to your best guys. But the beautiful thing about how we're constituted is, we're going to throw the ball to the open guy, and we got a lot of guys who can get open. Like you said, I think Joe threw the ball to 8 different guys in the first 15 completions on Sunday, so we have great star players, but we have other role players that are great at what we ask them to do. And so it's hard for a defense to defend. And, Steve Spagnuolo has been calling defense for a really long time in this league. He knows what he's doing. They've got good players. They've got good young players in the secondary. They got, Chris Jones, who's arguably the best defensive tackle in football. And, they've got guys on the edge that can rush. So there's a reason they're in the AFC Championship game, but, we're excited to go play them.
The thing about your quarterback that you work with every day, Coach, that impresses the hell out of me is patience. It's like, I am not going to force a damn thing. I'm going to take what the defense gives me, and I remember it takes me back to sitting in a meeting room and listening to Bill Walsh. And I vividly remember him with the West Coast offense saying, you know what, gentlemen, I'll take that 4-yard completion because, the defense thinks they're kicking our ass and stopping our passing game. But if my math is right, 3 of those is a first down. And that's what we want to do. Don't we want to move the chains, guys, and score points, right? So they think they're kicking our tail, but we're matriculating the ball and we're scoring points. I'll take that. And at some point in time, they're going to try to stop that. And now we've got other opportunities. Watching you guys scheme and Joe execute it, it takes me right back to that Bill Walsh kind of mentality. It's incredible to watch.
Yeah, Joe does a great job of that. He sees the defense. He's got excellent recognition. He understands the weaknesses and all the different coverage structures that he could see. You can't cover everything. And so when you have explosive targets on the outside like we have, a lot of teams so far this year have chosen to try to make us move the ball down the field rather than give us opportunities for for huge plays.
Yep.
Down the sideline. But, we maintain the identity that we are going to be aggressive. And so, we have to just find when those, opportunities occur and take advantage. And then if they're going to be soft, then Joe's going to do what he does and recognize where the voids and the underneath coverage are and get the ball to our playmakers, and they do what they do. So that's his job. That's the job of an NFL quarterback. And he does it really well.
Well, he certainly does. He's playing at such a high level, and man, I know I've asked you this before, but when Joe comes off the football field and comes to the sideline, are you kind of impressed with what he sees even on the field? He's got support, everybody, great coaches, on the sideline, up in the boxes, taking a look at things. But he does see a lot, doesn't he? He's got tremendous vision, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's special.
Yeah.
There's really the only way to describe him. Yeah, he's got a lot of support. We got a lot of smart guys in the building,
right,
that are helping him. But there's one guy out there doing it, and there's a reason the rest of us are on the sideline helping him, because none of us could do it. And there's very few guys on planet Earth that can do it to the level that he does. Maybe none. So. That's him. We're just so glad we have him, and I expect that he'll continue.
Tell you, I can understand why the offensive line played like they did, because I remember vividly being in the huddle in big games, and it's like, how's everybody doing? How's everybody looking here? And then you look at the quarterback, and in our case was Kenny Anderson. I'm looking at him, and he's composed, and he's got that look in his eye, and it's like, yeah, we're good. Everything's good today. I'm sure that's how the guys feel with Joe. They duck into that huddle, and like Joe's just like, we got this, guys, without saying it. Everything's cool. Don't worry about it. We got this. That's just an unbelievable feeling, man. That just raises you up. It really does.
Yep. No, it gives everybody confidence, no doubt.
Coach, can't thank you enough. I know it's never easy. It's always a challenge going out to Kansas City. Tough place to play, quality opponent. I know you're in the process of putting together another magnificent game plan. We don't want to hold you back from doing that anymore. And number 9 will execute it. Good luck.
Thanks, Lap.
AFC champions sounds good. Repeat AFC champions. You guys deserve it. You put in the work. You put in the time. Best of luck. Go get them.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We'll see you.
Appreciate you. Thanks.
Yep.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.